Hi, this is Sakala Pachu de Brass and welcome to another episode of Indian art and how to go about collecting it. But today it's not about collecting Indian art. Today it's about one of my favorite topics, the Navratnas, the 9 gems of Indian art. In 1970, the Indian government declared 9 of these artists as the national treasures. The best decision of their life. It really is. It has been an important landmark in creating a legacy for art, of modern Indian art in India. These 9 gems, the diaspora is all over, but if you look at them, are predominantly from Bengal. The reason being was Kolkata was actually the capital at that point of time for art. And there came out from that city many Nobel Prize laureates and many thinkers and many people who decided to change everything creative about India. So when you're talking about Kolkata and you're talking about art, obviously the first family of Indian art or first family of art in India would come out of there, and that would be the Tagores. And I'm not talking about just Rabindranath. I'm talking about his nephews Rabindranath and Gyanendranath. The first of this Navratna is Rabindranath. He was an educated man and he believed in the freedom struggle. So a lot of his, so he encouraged everybody around him to think out of the box and to think of different kind of art. He pushed the boundaries. He was a prolific painter, turned away from the West completely and started out a genre of art that would be followed by generations to come after that. Some of his paintings are here. The second artist continuing the episode on the 9 Ratnas. The second of the Ratna who comes out of Kolkata was Gyanendranath Tagore. He was the brother of Rabindranath Tagore and also the nephew of Rabindranath Tagore. He was self-taught. He didn't know much about art and he actually embraced and followed a lot of the Western Cubism and Futurism. But each of his paintings are so unique and different from each other that you actually look at them in awe. Towards the end, he also became a cartoonist and he was very good at watercolor. But he also he started drawing caricatures of people around, of people he saw, the Bengali Babu and things like that. Some of his collections, some of his art is in major museums. And of course, when we're talking about Indian art and Kolkata, we obviously come to the famous Rabindranath Tagore. Probably one of the when you think of art, when you think of poetry, when you think of lyrics, when you think of nationalism, he was probably prolific in every one of them. He took to painting much later in his life. It was like he also wanted to expand his already incredible repertoire of art to another field, which was painting. So he started painting really late. His paintings were also his observation of people. A lot of his paintings are in national museums and galleries and in private collections. Very, very difficult to get your hands on them and very sought after. by the whole country. One painter who comes to mind when you think of the Navratna, and I personally am very proud to have two of his works, is Jamini Roy. Jamini Roy studied at the Government College of Kolkata, but his biggest influence was Sunyani Devi, a little known fact actually. She was the sister of Rabindranath Tagore and Gyanendranath Tagore, and also introduced him and a whole generation of painters to the Kalighat style of painting. She was very nationalistic and very proud Bengali, and she basically believed that the Kalighat style of painting was very unique to Kolkata and to Bengal. So if you look at a lot of the Jamini Roy's work, it was influenced by this, and a lot of it was the Kalighat style of painting. He, however, started experimenting in Christian iconography. And I have personally got two paintings of that, where one of them is the Mother and Child series, and the other one is a painting of Jesus Christ, and they're just brilliant because both are done in completely two different styles, but so uniquely him. And he'll always remain a favorite of mine. The next painting deserves to be on this list. She died at 28, but had a brilliant career. She was not technically Indian. Her mother was Hungarian and an artist, and she was born to an aristocratic Punjabi family. Yes, I'm talking about none other than Amrita Sher. Very well collected. Her paintings are setting auction records all over the world. She's very sought after. Some of the major works of hers are outside the country because she did spend a majority of her life outside. But even though she came from an extremely wealthy family in Punjab, her paintings depict day-to-day life in Punjab. And that was for a reason. She was very taken up by what she saw in rural Punjab. I mean, one day, hopefully, I will be able to afford one of her paintings, but till then, I will just look and admire, like so many of us do. The next artist is Nandlal Bose, principal of Shantiniketan, and went on to influence many, many painters like K.G. Subramaniam and also Satyajit Ray. But his most iconic painting, and everybody will recognize it immediately when I say, is the silhouette of Mahatma Gandhi walking with a staff during the Dandi March. That became the symbol of freedom for India. And post-independence, his paintings were used in the Constitution of India. He's very much admired, and he made a huge difference to art and artists in Shantiniketan who studied under him. Sailuz Mukherjee. Very few people heard of him, but he's one of the Navratnas. And the reason being is that this artist was very reticent. He was very quiet. He didn't want fame and publicity. He just wanted to paint. And he encouraged and used new techniques in painting, which were never done in India, ever. He died early in an auto rickshaw accident, so his body of work is not that large. Whatever few paintings there are, have already probably in various collectors, but he can be seen in most big galleries and museums in the world, especially in India. And he was brilliant in what he did. The next painter is technically not Indian. He was Russian, but married an Indian actress, Devaki Rani, and moved to India. And he had a deep spiritual connection with India. I'm talking about none other than Nicholas Rorick. In his 50s, he moved to Himachal Pradesh, and there he painted the Himalayas, the Himalayan range. And the paintings are considered to be some of the most magnificent and beautiful paintings ever. They have a museum, a Nicholas Rorick museum. If you can Google it, you can find it online. And a lot of his paintings that you see worldwide have been collected by private museums or private galleries selling it. His work is brilliant. I have just seen 2 of his works and they are brilliant. But do have a look at it online and you will see what I mean. I'm very proud to claim that he's part of India. This brings me to my final and favorite Navratna. I kept the best for last, as they say. I mean, in my opinion. Raja Ravi Varma, who's probably considered by a lot of people as the father of modern Indian art. He was born into a royal family of Kerala, and this gave him a lot of leverage with a lot of other royal families. So he was patrons of most of the royal families in India. His style was figurative, with a combination of mythology, and he painted most of the royals. The biggest collection of Raja Ravi Varma paintings is with the Gaikwads. His paintings, the Saraswati playing Veena, and various other paintings which I have seen, are just breathtaking. In the scope and the detail in which he, the folds of the sari and the way he's painted them. My grandmother's home in Coog has one such painting. It's a massive one that was commissioned by him, by one of my ancestors, I would say. And it hangs there proud. And I remember looking at it as a kid because it was high up on the wall. And we would look at it and everybody would say, oh my God, this is so magnificent. He remains my favorite. He's probably also one of the most copied, or he was the first guy painter to do lithographs. He understood the concept of lithographs. So you find a lot of his paintings in lithograph form. And a lot of them, they take the lithographs and on top of the clothing they put silk. You would see a lot of those which are available at exorbitant prices. He's also has many museums I've seen them in Kerala, I've seen them in the Mysore Museum, I've seen them in Delhi, I've seen them in Bombay. All the museums have at least a couple of huge pieces of Raja Ravi Varma. Proud, beautiful pieces. I'm so proud of these Navratnas that we have in India. I hope what I have just said today is been helpful to all of us. I really thoroughly enjoyed researching this. But here's my advice to you. However much you see online, you should go and visit a museum to see what the actual piece is all about. I mean, when I talk about Raja Ravi Varma, it's breathtaking. When I talk about Gyanendranath Tagore's painting, it's breathtaking. I have one. And when you talk about all these artists, you realize why they deserve the Navratna status. And as a proud Indian, I will turn around and tell you this. I'm so glad that the Indian government has made it mandatory that it cannot be taken out of the country, because these artists and their work should stay in India. Thank you. That's all for now. This is Sakala Pachu de Bras signing off. Have a good day.